Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to talk about 20 Strong. 20 Strong is a solo-only card and dice game from Chip Theory Games. This is very different from anything else they have produced in the past. Most of the time they are creating grandiose games with poker chips and custom dice, neoprene mats, whole 9 yards. This is a much more compact system that you can change in and out the story or the theme that you are playing each time you want to go and play. Right now, they have 3 different themes you can play as. Solar Sentinels, which is a entirely new theme that they created as the base for 20 Strong. Then they have a Hoplomachus Victorum version and a Too Many Bones version. All 3 of those utilize the same system, and that is 20 Strong. So 20 Strong, you are going to get this box here, which in essence is really just the dice, a core rule book, and a single poker chip. This poker chip is their typical weighted poker chip, which with the magnet in here becomes a very handy dial to keep track of various things, or you can flip it over here and it can keep track of various colors of things. This dial is used in different ways in each game. Sometimes it tracks your health, sometimes it tracks the rounds, sometimes it tracks your progress in missions, so on and so forth. Here are the dice. So the dice in the game are colored, and they just have simply 3 different symbols. They all have misses on them, except for the one lone red die here. It has no misses. All the rest of them have at least 1 miss on them, a couple hits on them, and then a crit. The crit in most games counts as just 2 hits, but again, the crit can be used in different ways. So you have your weakest dice, which are the yellows, and then the greens, then the blues, purples, and finally the red, which never misses and has mostly hits, but 1 crit on it as well. There's 17 of these colored dice, and then there is the 3 remaining dice are your stat dice. So this makes up the 20 total dice. This one here is almost always going to track your character's health. This one here is going to track their recovery stat. So after you've taken a round and spent and rolled some of these dice here for hits, you actually get to get some back. The higher your recovery count, the more dice you're going to get back into your pool. And then your strategy die here is going to be used for various things, but for the most part, it's how many turns of rolling the dice do you get to spend each round. Similar to Yahtzee. In Yahtzee, you get to roll your dice 3 times. In this game, you get to re-roll certain dice, but you also get to add dice in each turn of a round. This also may represent how many items you can hold that you gain from, say, defeating characters. So that is basically it. You have the core rule book here, which explains the various symbols, and these symbols are going to be found on all of the games, no matter what the theme. So you're always going to have, say, enemy health and enemy damage. You're also always going to have misses, hits, and crits. You're always going to have instant, ongoing, and single use. You're always going to have this plus skull symbol, which means bring in an additional enemy. So this right here is 20 Strong. Now, what you do with that is add in one of these theme boxes here, and you're able to play a solo game based on whatever theme you choose. So let's take a look at these individually here. Before we jump into explaining how you go about playing Solar Sentinels, I just wanted to point out that each of these different themed boxes comes with its own unique rule sheet that just explains how you go about winning this version of 20 Strong and any slight rule changes that there might be to the core system. I'm not going to show this off each time though. So in 20 Strong, you are going to take one of the 6 Solar Sentinels here. Each one has different starting statistics and a different special ability. You'll take one And the goal of your game here is to defeat one of these bosses. Now, you're actually going to not know exactly which boss you are fighting at the beginning of the game, but there are ways to see which boss you might be attempting to defeat, get rid of that one, try another one, so on and so forth. For the most part, though, you are going to be deciding amongst these 3 face-up stacks which of these monsters, or aliens, whatever you want to call them, enemies, you're going to bring down in front of you and challenge for that round. But there are some rules you have to follow as to who you're going to bring down. For example, anyone with this orange striping or orange lettering has to be brought down. So I would have to choose one of these 2 before I could choose this gentleman here, the level 1. Also, if I choose to bring down this gentleman, he is going to require me to bring down another one. And if there is an orange person up there, that's the one I have to bring down. You can see this guy here actually brings down 2 other enemies with him. So you could have a range of 1 to 4 or 5. Ideally, you're only facing 1 or 2 each time. If you are able to roll the number of hits to defeat said enemies, then you will defeat them and gain their item if you so choose. So some of them are ongoing, like this one here with the ongoing symbol. Some of them are single-use items, like this one right here. And then there are others that are an instant reward. For example, this little lightning bolt. This is a one-time use, but this little lightning bolt shows you that's the symbol you'd be looking for. Let's find one here that has the lightning bolt symbol there. For example, that would be instantly recover 2 dice. And remember, the amount of items that you can hold is based on your strategy stat. So this person, until it is increased, can only hold 2 items at a time. If you fail to defeat a enemy, they're going to hit you for this amount of damage. So this enthralled kin here would actually, at the beginning of the game, take out our astral scout Raven right off the bat. But this person would not. Not even this person would. They would only do a single point of damage, and you'd be able to gain those back. Either way, after you have challenged a certain number of enemies, whether you defeated them or not, they're going to go off into a discard pile. You're then going to choose one of these 3 stacks and discard the top enemy from that stack. It's a free discard. Get rid of them free. But you cannot discard anybody that is orange. They would have to stay up there. If everybody up here is orange, you simply skip that discard step. And then you just play another round. You decide who you're going to challenge and go from there. The trigger for being able to take on the boss is that you have reduced at least one of these stacks down to nothing. So if you have taken out all of the enemies in one particular stack, then you can take on the boss. You can, however, choose to continue going after your enemies to try and gain more items, raise your stats, things like that. And then if all of the enemies are gone, then you have to take on the top boss that is there. That's pretty much it. If you defeat the boss, you are successful. If you lose all your hearts, then you lose. It's pretty straightforward. You're rolling dice. You're trying to get hits equal to the amount of health that the enemies have. Each one of them have, up here in yellow, have various things that are going to mess with you, their own little special abilities that you'll have to keep up with, but they're pretty much self-explanatory. There also are missions that you can add to the game to increase difficulty. For the most part, you have to complete these missions one at a time in order. Any ones that you fail to defeat or choose not to defeat will mean that the enemy here gets an extra, or the boss gets an extra minion in the final battle. So you wouldn't want to leave those just sitting around, but they're also just additional challenges that you have to take on during the game. That is Solar Sentinels in a nutshell. In Too Many Bones, your goal is to defeat a tyrant. You get to choose the tyrant that you're taking on, and each tyrant has a specific minimum number of days that you must get through before you can then challenge the tyrant. You're going to take on the role of some of the famous Gearlocks from the Too Many Bones universe, each with their innate side and innate +1 side if you fill up their backup plan. And then there's a universal backup plan. In this backup plan, you are putting misses down, but you have to fill them up one of each dice color, not including that red die. And that's how you would fill up your backup plan and go from there. So each day you have the option of either battling, going into battle against baddies, or taking on one of these encounters. That can range from lock-picking encounters, these Mjolnir encounters, which give you a choice, or sometimes they're just going to be straight battles that may change up the baddie queue in some order. And just like in regular Too Many Bones, the baddie queue is made up of the days, or the day count, and then you divide that by 5 and 1, creating the least amount of baddies. So if you were at day 5, you would just flip over one of these 5-point baddies and go from there. Other than that, once you have made it through the number of days required to take on the tyrant, you can go up to 12 at maximum. On the 12th day, you will have to take on the tyrant, and if you defeat the tyrant within 12 days, you win the game. Pretty simple. And finally, in Hoplomachus Victorum, you are going to be making your way around and up Mount Vesuvius. So you're going to set up the cards like this, and you're going to use the chip token actually just to simply keep track of where you are moving around. At the beginning of the game, you're going to choose which hero you're going to be playing as. And then you'll also be choosing the scion that you'll be taking on. Each scion has a spectating side that could mess with you throughout. And then they have their challenge side when you do make it to the top of Mount Vesuvius. But your hero, once you've selected your hero, you're going to randomly select 3 other heroes, and they're going to flip over to their Primus side. So these are going to be the 3 challengers that you need to get to and defeat, and they'll be placed throughout the mountain like so, as I kind of mess up my stacks here, but that's okay. They'll be placed along the mountain, and you can take on a Primus at any point in time, but as you go around Mount Vesuvius, you're going to be building up your stats. So you don't necessarily want to just go race, try and take out the 3 Primuses, and then in round 4, take on the Scion, because you would not have, built up your hero enough. There are tactics cards similar to the tactics chips that you can gain as you're moving around, as well as all of these have, well, not all of them, but many of them have rewards on the other side. So that is pretty much it. Again, you're just going to be moving around, and some of these offer, non-battle encounters, and other ones offer, various other encounters. And that is Hoplomachus Victorum. So to circle back, 20 Strong is a system. It utilizes cards, dice, and a single chip counter in various ways, depending on the theme that you so choose. The core of 20 Strong, which is the dice, the core rulebook, and the chip, comes in this very nice box that holds whatever theme you choose along with the dice. And there you go. You have a very portable, I stuck the lid on upside down, but a very portable, and the lid stays on nice and tight, very classy, sleek looking box to take with you wherever you so choose to go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is just a brief overview of 20 Strong. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I do plan on doing a playthrough of one of the themes. So if there's one of these themes in particular you would like to see over the others, I believe there's several Solar Sentinel playthroughs out there. So if you would like to see one of these 2 in action, please let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, thanks for watching. Have a great day.